Hey guys, Casual Crono here. It is time to do another Superboss team update. The last one I believe was September, and it's now early December 2024, so it's been about 3 months. Some of my teams are fairly close to what they were before. Other teams have been revised a decent bit, so I thought I'd go ahead and go over them. What I'm going to do this time around, I am going to the parallel time layer in present Garulia and going to that Nagsham instead of the usual Nagsham. And it's to show what I'm planning on doing is I'm going to show you the team. I'm going to show you how they interact on the test dummy in new Nagsham, and then I'll go off and fight a Superboss so you can actually see the team in action. The new Nagsham dummy is great because it restores my health, it restores my mana. I don't have to keep running back and forth to the inn, but it's not practical because it doesn't fight back, so I can't show off the tanking abilities without actually giving you a real example. Plus it's only one turn, so I can't show you the build-up like I did on the old Nagsham dummy. But this should go a little quicker. So we're going to start with the elemental teams as usual, and not board. Party. Okay. So my Earth team is relatively the same. It's Mayunfa Alter, Shannon Alter, Claude, and Bertrand, Stellar Awakened, with back row support Deirdre and Shannon. Sidekicks are Tetra and Gunts as always. Tetra is equipped with the Soothing Bell in all cases. Gunts is equipped with the Thundercrack Necklace. Doesn't really matter what Gunts is equipped with, except maybe for the Thunder team, because he pretty much just stays in the back row. I use Tetra as my healer. So as far as gear, I believe the Earth team really hasn't gone through too much change since September. Mayunfa is support, so she is built to survive. She has 7,300 health thanks to the weapon armor HP badge, which is the 2000 HP badge. She has 3 ore, each one with a base of 300 health, and each one upgraded with HP ore. If your Mayunfa has more than 50 light points, then you would gain more benefit from the light HP ore that can be equipped. But since mine is nowhere near that, the HP ore that just simply gives a flat 300 is better for her. And she happens to have her Ginny proof, not that it really does anything. As far as skills, she has Please, I'll Do My Best, and Charity Blend. She does not have an Earth attack skill equipped. T-Break is her only one. So in an AF burst, she doesn't really have any good way to keep the burst going. If I had the 4th skill slot unlocked, I would almost definitely be using T-Break. Shannon Alter is the main damage dealer. Since she's the main damage dealer, she has damage-related equipment: Elpis Sword, Dryad's Bangle, and a +40 power badge. She has the Power of Agony series with, which is Pain, with Bullseye, Rose with Thorns, and Earth Power of Pain. She does not have any special grasta equipped, and her skills that I typically use, Epée de Sanction is the spammable skill in the AF burst, and then Declenchment and Coupre de Armament. What I've been doing, which you may have noticed over time, the 3rd skill is usually some type of debuff or pain or poison, something along those lines. The 2nd skill is usually a group buff, or in her case, a team buff, or an individual buff. But the 2nd skill is usually a buff of some kind. And then the 1st skill is whatever I plan on spamming the most during the AF burst, because I hate kind of pianoing around and clicking all sorts of different skills. So, Mayunfa support is a little different. Her 3rd skill deploys Earth Stance, but her 2nd skill, whoops, I just totally, there we go. But her second skill, I'll do my best, is a prayer, which is a group buff, and then please is a specific buff for the person next to her. Claude's skills kind of fit in the same pattern. His third skill is a debuff, his second skill is a team buff, and his first skill is my spammable attack, which in his case heals the team and restores statuses as well. As far as his gear, since he's support, I have him built for basically hit points. Illusion Speed Sword, Smoke Drift Bangle, which I finally got to +10. His hit point badge is the 1500 hit point badge, and then all of his grasta are designed to give him hit points or to buff Shannon Altar. So he has a bunch of sword ones. Power of Awakening Sword, so as long as we're in an awakened zone, all sword users get a buff. Or get a, I guess a boost, not so much a buff. Enhance if max HP sword. Since his primary spammable skill heals the team, Shannon will probably be at max hit points more often than not. And then Sound Body, he is giving 300 health to all sword users, and 50 mana. So all of his grasta are helping Shannon, who is an earth sword user. Bertrand is my tank. His skills, third skill position, is a power and int reduction, but more importantly, he inflicts pain and rage, so it's his basically tanking skill. His second skill, Guardian Lance, is a buff for him. It improves his max hit points, and it gives him the counter, which every time he gets hit by a physical attack, he'll restore mana to the team. And then his first skill, Kingdom Spear. It's his stellar skill, and it reduces piercing resistance. It stacks Iron Wall, which at the start of every turn gives him a damage barrier, gives him resistance, restores health, etc. So debuff slash, I guess, mechanic, so in this case pain and rage, buff, and attack skill. For the reserve characters, I always look at the main DPS's personalities. So she's Sword, KMS, Amnesia, Dog Lover, Earth. Right now, as far as I know, there's no Dog Lover grasta in the game. So these are the only 4 personalities I have to worry about. Deirdre is a sword user, and she has the Amnesia trait as well. She also does happen to be Earth. So she can hold the Almighty Power Amnesia grasta, which improves type attack damage for all party members with Amnesia. She has Power of Quake Sword and Enhance if max HP, Earth. Shannon has the other Enhance if max HP sword. Then, in cases where my Altar Shannon is damaged, she does have Enhance at low HP sword, and then she is a KMS user, so she has Almighty Power KMS. And I'm not sure if I went over Bertrand's gear now that I'm thinking about, but he has the Fishhook Spear, which is upgraded to decrease damage over time and give him health and a regen. He has the Elpis Bangle, HP plus Speed Halved badge from Toto's Theater World, and then 3 grasta that all have a base of 300 health and are equipped with the HP ore. He actually has more than 50 light, so it would be better if I swapped those 2 out for the Light Shadow HP ore. I just haven't yet, because 4 extra points really won't give him that much more health. He does have the True Magister Proof, which does give him an additional 900 health and 15 endurance. So he has a tremendous physical defense already, so he's a great physical tank. So part 2 of this team, I said I would show you how they function on a test dummy. So this new test dummy, as I mentioned, has only 1 turn, but I can use the AF bar right away. So in a typical fight, I would start with all threes, so I would deploy Earth Stance. I would reduce Slash and Earth Resistance. I would improve damage, or I could cast Empathy on a character. And I would Overbear, which inflicts pain and reduces power. So the third position for all the characters except Claude is a debuff of some kind or a mechanic like Rage or Pain. Now Claude normally would probably cast Empathy on Shannon to boost up her health, because everyone else's health is over 7,000 except her, since she's the damage dealer. So Empathy takes a lot of Claude stats and basically shares them with her. But in this case, I'm just going to improve damage of sword and users for 5 turns. If I had cast Empathy, it would basically boost a little more. Turn 2, I would start Praying, which is a group buff. I would self-buff. Group reduce enemies' power and speed, improve parties' physical resistance, and Guardian Lance is a buff for Bertrand. It buffs his health, and it can stack multiple times. And then finally, I would spam all ones. Please just increase his damage. Epée de Sanction is her main damage. This attack restores health. And Kingdom Spear gives him the Iron Wall, and as a nice attack, reduces piercing resistance. So all threes, all twos, all ones. 3, 3, 3, 3. 2, 2, 2, 2. And then all ones. And that's the general pattern. I have an Awakened Earth Zone as a result. And you can see the 2.147 damage that Alter Shannon is doing is the damage cap. So that's the general pattern for my Earth team. Now, as I said, this is a one-turn deal, and it doesn't show the enemy attacking back, so I can't show kind of how I can adjust on the fly. So we're going to do that next with a Superboss. But just that one little burst alone with the team, and I did 7,600,000,000 in damage. So, and I didn't even use my stellar skill. So 7 billion damage in one turn. Can't be too sad about that. So let's go fight a real boss. For the Earth team, I like to go to the records room and fight the Shadow of the Swordsman. High level Superboss. And it kind of showcases how the team works together. So, first turn, I can do all threes. I can burst with the AF bar and go ahead and set up stuff, which is what I'm probably going to do. So I'm going to do all threes, all twos, and then all ones, just like you saw. 3, 3, 3, 3, 2, 2, 2, 2, and then all ones. Now this boss has some HP stoppers. You'll see Bertrand's physical defense is so high, especially with the buffs, that he's not really taken any damage. There was his counter, which gave back mana to the team. So right now we have an Awakened Earth Zone and a very buffed up Bertrand for damage purposes. You'll see that his health is also buffed to 21,000 already. And that, I believe, is, I only did one stack of his health. Yep, HP increased 1 out of 3 times. So if I cast Guardian Lance again, his health would go up even more. So I double check buffs and debuffs. Sometimes some super bosses clear them, but I can see Rage one there, and Pain, which are the important two to me. So I'll go ahead and buff him up even more. Now I could cast Empathy. I will attack with her, and I will do Please. Actually, I'll double check my prayer first. She is still praying, so Please would be acceptable.
Got ya.
Thanks to Empathy, you'll see that her health has now boosted almost 10,000 points. And with the second stack, Bertrand is up to 25,000 health. So he has one more Iron Wall, so I don't need Kingdom Spear right away. Pain is still on the boss, so I can just do another Guardian Rage. For Claude, his buffs and debuffs last for 5 turns, so he can just continue attacking. Hers lasts for 3 turns, but when another zone is deployed, the turn count increases. So she should be good for both of those as well, so she can continue to attack. As always, I check to see, am I in an Earth Zone? Am I in a prayer? If so, I'm good to go. And the prayer and the please last for 3 turns. So I'm just going to go ahead and redo prayer.
Not so fast.
We hit the second HP stopper. She reprays. Claude heals the team, and again his insane defenses for physical show up. This Superboss is doing 0 damage to him. Now, just for fun, to showcase this team fully, Bertrand has a Stellar Awaken skill, Kingdom Spear. In Stellar Burst, he gains damage barrier pierce, or he gains 100% damage barrier until the end of the turn, which means he cannot be hurt if I use Stellar Burst. So, just to show it, there's his Stellar Burst.
This shield shall never be pierced.
And now to the end of the turn, all damage that goes to him is reduced to 0. So his health is now 26,000. The boss still has Pain. It should be the last turn for Pain. Oh, doesn't say turns left. Well, this says Pain for 3 turns, so we're going to pretend like Pain is about to run out, and we are going to overbear. These buffs and debuffs should still be going, so he'll just attack. Same with those, so she'll just attack. And we double check, we are no longer in Earth Zone. It ran out, so we will Charity Blend and redeploy Earth Stance for the buffs. And Alter Shannon finishes the job. So nice, smooth kill. No real threats to anyone dying. And that is my current Earth Superboss team. My next Superboss team is my Water Superboss team, featuring Felmina ES as the main DPS, though Ilulu Alter certainly does her fair share of damage as well. She and Elseal are there primarily to buff and support, and Dunrith Alter is there to tank. Annabelle and Zaviro are in the reserves because of their personality traits. Sidekicks are as usual Tetra and Gunts. Tetra for his heals, Gunts for his aura. When the AF gauge is empty, everyone's stats boosts up by 20%. So Felmina, being the main damage dealer, is geared for damage. Elpis, Axe, and Dryad's Necklace, I like that combination. She has a plus 40 power badge. And I should throw out really quick, is this the actual, absolute best current, most awesome combination? No. Instead of a power badge, I could always look at, other things. The Vitality badge, as long as her max health is full, she does 20% extra damage. That probably does a lot more than a static 40 points. It's just that, for these fights, a lot of times with HP stoppers, it doesn't really matter how much damage you're doing, because, you're going to get stopped at some point. So, and her health might not always be at max anyway, in which case then that slot would be worthless. So that's kind of how I feel about that. So that's why I usually use static for badges. She has the Power of Pain series, Bullseye, Rose with Thorns, and Insult to Injury, which, if the enemy is weak to water, her damage increases by another 10%. Ilulu has the Lepid Axe, Mujima Necklace, and HP Badge. So, HP Badge is the 2001. And then she has Sound Body Axe, Power of Awakening Axe, and Enhance if Max HP Axe. So normally I would give her health, but that's the reason I gave her the highest HP badge that I have, because since she's an axe user, she can equip grasta that will improve Felmina's damage more. Elseal has 8,500 health thanks to the Illusion Speed Sword, the Elpis Bangle, and she has a 1,500 HP badge. She has 3 grasta that all provide health, and they are all boosted with the HP ore. She does have the mailed sheep proof, just the first level one. Most of the time, if I kind of gloss over the special grasta, it's because I really haven't awakened them and gotten their true grastas. So, and then Dunnerith has Miyake's staff, which provides him some type resistance, Destiny Ring because he wants luck, and HP plus speed halved badge. So he goes slow, but he has an extra 2,000 health. And he has 3 grasta, all that give hit points and are equipped with the HP ore. And he has the Orpheus proof, which pretty much does nothing for him as a tank. Kind of a worthless grasta, in my opinion. But he has 7,000 health. As far as back row grasta, Almighty Power Big Lance, Water, and Resonant Power Shadow, because Felmina is a shadow character, so the more additional shadow characters she has around, her damage goes up. She has the Miglance Palace personality, and she is a water user. Severo has more Axe grasta equipped, another Enhance if max HP. If Felmina is hurt, then this one can kick in, and Power of Rapids, no matter what her health is, she gets an extra 30% water damage. Skills. The third position, Torrent, is a debuff. The second position, Averse, is a buff. And the first position, the Spammable, is just basically her most powerful attack. Ilulu Altar. Her third spot is Pain, Persistent. Her second spot, Purgatorium, is a debuff and a buff. And then her first skill is a water slash attack, and it can be very damaging, so it's her spammable damaging first attack. Oops. El Seal skills. Her third skill is a buff. Her second skill is a buff. And then her first skill, since it's spammable, and it reduces slash resistance and it stacks, that's great to spam, but that is basically her spammable. It also can restore team health. Dunnerith. Now, Dunnerith can sing, and he has 2 songs that he can use, Ilias and Odysseia. So, one basically improves party's power, whereas the other improves party's intellect. So you'd use Ilias with a magic team and Odysseia with a physical team. However, I just don't like the singing mechanic. I don't like locking someone up for 3 turns. I don't like the fact that if I use an AF burst while they're singing, they can't do anything. And in this case, he also takes double damage while he's singing. So even though he does get buffed, with his luck and everything, he gets actually about 120 luck points, which is great for his defenses. But I just don't like singing, so I don't have a song on the bar. Instead, what I have his rage mechanic in the 3rd slot. I have a shield in the 2nd slot, and then I have a spammable attack in the 1st slot. So that's what I did with him. So let's see how this team functions on the new Nagsham Test Dummy. I will spam the 3rd skill, followed by the 2nd skill, and then I will just hit the 1st skill over and over again until the bar is done. So I like things nice and easy that way. So 3, 3, 3, 3, 2, 2, 2, and 2, and then all ones. You'll notice also I have 50 stacks, so that way if this was a real boss fight, I could redeploy an Awakened Water Zone with Felmina ES. So I can reach 50 stacks pretty easily, just in an AF burst alone on the 1st turn.
Their visage a signal to praise untimely end. There will be no gift of moment to fight.
So we wait for her to give her righteous speech and slice things up. And in 1 turn against new Test Dummy, this team pulls off. There's her delayed attack. They were able to do 6 billion damage in 1 turn. Again, pretty good for a single turn. And I should point out too, this is with standard, you just saw the gear. If I really wanted to boost the numbers on the Test Dummy, what I would probably do, all of, well, maybe not those, but like the HP grastas and everything, I would replace those with pain grastas, and that means El Seal would do more damage. So don't think that these teams are necessarily optimized for damage on this Test Dummy. This is just to show you how a normally geared team can do in 1 AF burst against a boss. On that note, let's go find a boss to beat up. To show the water team in action, we are going to fight the mysterious Chaos Ogre hard. I do not have any errat defenses upgraded, so I'm not cheating by any of those mechanisms. Alright, so turn 1, we tend to reduce power, inflict pain. We're going to buff the team. And Dunrith is going to inflict rage. The Mysterious Chaos Ogre has a shield that we have to, a barrier that we have to kind of burn through. We did not blow the AF gauge on the first turn because we are holding off on doing that until he hits his HP stopper. So turn 2, we're going to give a shield to the team. We're going to go ahead and do a slash resistance, I think. She will also do a slash resistance. and she will beef up the team's defenses. And with Tetra's attack, he should go down to 3 remaining. Oh, that's right, we have a counterattack too. Alright, well that worked out even better, so he no longer has his barrier. We have a pretty buffed up team right now. Because of Dunrith Alter's shield, the team's health stays relatively the same. So we are going to attack, 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 and attack. And the boss is already down to his HP stopper. It's a 10% stopper. But he put back up his stacks of barriers. Fortunately, we have a full AF bar to use. Now this team no longer has Water Zone. However, the boss has 50 stacks, and Falmina ES, when she uses Shatter Glass with 50 Ice Bursts, she deploys Sacred Water Stance. So the very first turn in the AF, we're going to do Shatter Glass, and then just basically spam all ones. So now we're back in Water Stance. You'll see that the boss is already defeated. You could always just throw in a few extra buffs if we really wanted to at this point. It doesn't really matter. The boss has been utterly and completely owned by the water team. I'll just let it sit.
This will be the last thing you see.
And that is how the water team functions together. My wind team is relatively unchanged as well. I'm now finding I'm using Shani Alter as the main tank for the wind team. I used to use Soira AS, and Shani Alter, she basically has the same function, except that she also improves the damage of the others, including Sesta. So if your tank can survive in either situation, and one situation has more damage, one less, I'm going to go with Shani Alter. That said, Shani Alter, the 3 skills I have for her are her Toadstrib, which is her Stellar Awaken skill. It reduces wind resistance and stacks. It does a pretty nice amount of damage as well. In Stellar Burst, it also grants Barrier Pierce to the user that has Thorn Wedge, as well as herself. Thorn Wedge usually goes to Sesta, and she already has Barrier Pierce, so that part's not as interesting to me. Her other skills, Fated Love and Malediction. Fated Love is what applies Thorn Wedge, so I feel that's an important skill. She also gains cover and counter attack and beefs up her resistances. So for a tank, that seems like a no-brainer. Malediction improves critical damage for all members, improves any weapon type damage by 25%, and it doubles that for whoever has Thorn Wedge. So that's the other skill I use. Now, one downside to using Shani instead of Soira, Shani at the start of the fight puts unresistible rage on every enemy. However, during the fight, if adds appear, there's no way for her to do rage except if she has, wherever it is, Cling Together, I think it is, yes. Cling Together, a shadow attack, which inflicts rage, but the user also takes damage, but they gain a damage barrier. So if you are in a fight where you need to put rage on at various points, you'll need Cling Together, or else she won't be able to. If I had a 4th skill slot unlocked, I'd probably have Cling Together as the 4th skill. So just keep in mind that she's a great tank, except if you need rage halfway through the fight, you have to have that skill. And as far as gear, she's geared like a tank. Now, the Elpis hammer, I could give her a more tanky weapon of some kind, like the Kwai weight, which improves her hit points. However, I happen to have Yifa in the party as well, who's also a hammer user, so I gave that to her in order to boost her health instead. So Shani Alter, like Soira AS, she primarily wants luck and critical rate as her defensive stats. The Elpis hammer gives her a constant critical rate of 100%, but really any weapon that gives 100% critical rate, like the Void hammer, would be a good choice there. Grace Armlet gives luck and spirit. Stats badge gives luck as well as endurance and spirit for extra defenses. And then she has 3 grasta that all give health and are equipped with the ores that give health as well. So looking at the other 3, Sesta has damage-related gear, damage-related grasta, power badge, though I've used the vitality badge a lot with her as well. Melody has defensive gear, purity staff, which has been upgraded to reduce damage over time, improve status resistances. She has the Oriental Ring, which improves resistances, and she has the 2000 HP badge. And then her grasta and ore are all HP related except for Resonant Power Shadow, which improves damage for every shadow ally. Melody herself is light, and Yifa is light, but Shani and Sesta are shadows, so we're making about half use of the shadow grasta. As far as Yifa, besides the Kawaii weight, she has a Mujima bangle, which will reduce all damage over time. Spirit badge, because she wants as much spirit as possible. And then she has 2 grasta equipped with ores that give her health. She's over 50 light, so the light shadow HP ore is better for her. And then she has sound body hammer, which gives her just 300 health, but because it's a sound body and shareable grasta, she is providing 300 health to the tank as well. As far as skills, Sesta pretty much uses Twin Blade Wolf all the time. I do have a few other skills equipped, including Sky Mirror, which does not do damage at all. There are occasional times during a fight where I don't want her to do damage, maybe due to a counterattack or something, so on those turns she can use Sky Mirror. Melody skills, Dark Drill, Depravity, and Magical Smash. Magical Smash improves critical damage, which with the overcritical and everything that Shani Alter provides makes this kind of nice. Depravity is how I put pain on the enemy. It also reduces their power, and it provides a damage barrier. And then Dark Drill is just her spammable attack. It also reduces wind resistance, which is nice. Yifa's skills. She has Athdalkus, which improves resistances and gives Cyclone Wind immunity, knockback immunity once. She has Banacht Bua in the middle slot, which is the team party buff. And then she has a spammable attack, which is not wind, but it attacks and speeds up the party and improves her type attack. So it is kind of more of a buff as well. So if I wanted to extend Wind Zone, Kruach is the only spammable attack, and it's a small attack, so I just don't think it's worthwhile. That's my opinion. So that's the main team, and those are the skills and gear. Sesta, Katana, Avenger, and Wind User. So the back row characters reflect that. Tomei also happens to be an Avenger, so we have a use for this knight. So he has the Avenger Grasta, and then he has Enhance if max HP. As long as Sesta's health is maxed out, both of those kick in. And then Otoa has Power of Gale, Enhance at low HP for when Sesta's damaged, and Power of Awakening. We're usually in an awakened zone with the Wind team, so all party members' damage increases thanks to this Grasta. So that is the team. Sidekicks, the usual, Tetra and Guns. And here's how the team functions on the new Nagsham dummy.
Mel, me, and
Aside from Sesta, we do 3s, then 2s, and then 1s for everyone. Sesta has one use of Twin Blade Wolf in the AF bar, so I usually wait for the combo rate to go up some so it maximizes that damage. So usually when the bar hits around there, that's when I switch over and get ready to do Twin Blade Wolf. So we're going to do 1, 3, 3, 3, 1, 2, 2, 2, and then all 1s. 1, 3, 3, 3, 1, 2, 2, 2, and now all 1s, and we just watch the AF gauge, and when it gets kind of low, we switch over to Twin Blade Wolf. So right around now would be a good time. There's Twin Blade.
These are the cries of the voiceless.
You can see a 2, 1, 4, 7s, so she hit damage cap a few times with it. And the team overall, in one turn, without having to worry about counterattacks or anything, did 6 billion in damage. So pretty good. Now let's see this team in action. I use my Win team all of the time. So if you want an example of the Win team in action, you could probably just watch half of my videos. That said, for this demo, we're going to pick on the Warped SD-148. He has a barrier, and he can break zones and deploy earth zones, and he's just a general nuisance. So we are going to go ahead and mess with him. So we are going to, now, Shani Alter, because she's Stellar Awakened, automatically casts Fated Love right away. So I don't need to cast that skill quite yet. So in her case, I'm going to do Malediction first. We're going to Faith, and if I want offense, I'll Faith Sesta. If I want defense, I'll Faith Shani, so that way it boosts her luck. We can do Depravity to put on Pain and reduce its damage. And in her case, we can Twin Blade Wolf, because why not? It will ignore that 50 stack barrier. So that's what we're going to do. Malediction, we're going to Faith, Sesta, in this case, Depravity, and Twin Blade.
how's this?
Listen. These are the cries of
And here's the 2 barrier piercing attacks. The boss broke the Awakened Wind Zone and deployed Earth Zone. However, Melody, AS, will, at the end of a turn when there's no wind zone and she has her Demented state on all characters, I think it's called Demented. She basically has to stack something on the characters, but she can break the zone and redeploy Awakened Wind Zone. So we're going to go ahead and blow the AF gauge this time. We've cast all 3s, except for Athdaucus, because we did Faith. So we're going to do 1. Actually, let's check. We have Rage, we have Pain, we're good there. The debuff stayed. So, you know what? We'll just do 1 and just do all 3s, 1, all 2s, and then Twin Blade Wolf when it gets low. 1, 3, 3, 3, 1, 2, 2, 2, Twin Blade. And she should shoot through that barrier. And there we go. Two turn kill against the Warped SD-148. So that is how my Win team works. It's probably my favorite team out of all of them. It's very simple to use. Twin Blade is barrier piercing, and Sesta is just a destructive genius. My next team has gone a fairly radical change. My first 3 elements, Water, Wind, and Earth, were pretty much the same as they've always been. A few minor tweaks, but my fire team has changed greatly. In fact, Iffy is the only remaining untouched character, more or less. My previous fire team focused on Minalka as the DPS character, since Minalka had an inherent barrier pierce. And it had Sukiya Alter and Radius AS. The new fire team is what you see here. We have Renri Alter, Renri Alter is support. We have Ewan Stellar Awakened as the main DPS. We still have Iffy as support, and Minalka has shifted her role to the tanking. And because Ewan is the main damage dealer and he is a hammer user, and his personality are made up of all of these, I had to find reserve characters that match those personalities. For sidekick, we still have Tetra. In fact, this is the one where Tetra makes sense because Tetra is paired with Minalka. And we have Gunts, as always, as my favorite sub-sidekick. So let's look a little more into this team. So Ewan is the main damage dealer. He has the Elpis Hammer. He has the Vitality Badge, because that will improve his damage by 20% with max HP. He has the Power of Pains, including Infernal Power of Pain and Bullseye and Rose with Thorns, kind of your standard DPS Grasta setup. He has the Life Changer bracelet instead of like the Dryad's bangle or something like that. That's because it absorbs damage as health, and when his health is maxed out, it improves his damage. And what you're going to see, he does a lot of damage, and a lot of his skills, which we'll go into next, can hurt him. So, Stellar Awakened Ewan, and I have a video about him, he can go into Vital Flame mode, and it takes some of his hit points as damage, but improves his strength. In fact, one of his skills in Vital Flame mode will drop him down to 1 hit point, but it improves his damage greatly, and if he has over 8,820 hit points that are sucked away, his Eruption skill does a massive amount of damage. So he has a lot of skills that do a lot of damage, giving him some gear that absorbs that damage as health, keeps him alive much easier. So, which skills did I end up picking for him? Well, my usual row, the third one, Flame Break, is a debuff. In his case, it just reduces fire resistance. The second one, Destruction, is usually a buff. In this case it is. It improves his power and speed and weapon type damage. And if he's in Vital Flame mode, it hurts him, but instead of 50%, they all become 100%. And then his spammable skill is Lava Impact. It hits 4 times, it reduces physical resistance, it stacks, it improves his fire damage, and that stacks. And if he's in Vital Flame mode, it saps away 20% of his health, and it improves his damage. He will continue attacking until his health drops below 50%, or until he attacks 3 times. Now, without any type of damage absorption, 3 attacks would basically drop him down to about 40% health. However, he will continue attacking basically until he uses up the max 3 times, because he's going to keep healing himself. His Stellar Awakened skill, if I Stellar Burst with it, he can redeploy an Awakened Fire Zone over and over and over again. So that is his role as damage dealer. To support him, we have this team. Renri Alter is a support character, therefore I have geared her for health. She has the Cherry Blossom Gloves, because over time, damage taken decreases. She has the Elpis Necklace, which gives health, and she has the 1250 hit point badge. She has 2 Grasta and 2 Ore that give her health, but then she has Resonant Power Shadow, which improves damage for every Shadow ally. This particular team, all 4 front row characters are Shadow. So I finally can make use of the Resonant Power Shadow to its full amount. Her skills. As usual, skill slot 3 is a debuff. It reduces enemies' resistances and speed. Slot 2 is usually a team buff, and Blaze Up improves the party's power, intellect, fire type attack, and some additional effects if you have co-op. And then Overload is her spammable first skill. It looks like it's like a Null type or something. However, it activates Trigger Rush, and Trigger Rush is a fire attack. So by spamming Overload, I'm basically spamming Trigger Rush at the same time. So Overload improves weapon type damage, and for frontline allies with co-op, it grants them Barrier Pierce. So that's one way I get around the Barrier Pierce requirement. I can use Overload. Trigger Rush itself attacks 3 times, heals the party, improves critical rate, and it is improved. The damage is improved based on how many people have co-op. Because she's Stellar Awakened, co-op is given to all Shadow allies except for her at the start of the fight. So right off the bat, Yuan, Iffy, and Minalka will all have that co-op just by simply her being there. So Iffy is a support character as well. Because she's support, I gear her as such. She has the Purity Staff, which is upgraded. She has the Elpis Ring. She has the 1500 HP badge. And then she has Grasta and Ores that all give her health. And she has her Proof, which doesn't do anything. Her skills, slot 3 is always the debuff, and sure enough, it's the Pain Poison and Reduce Power. Slot 2 is a group buff, and it's Nocturnal Procession, which improves everyone's power, intellect, speed by 50%, gives them knockback immunity once. And then the spammable first slot, she only has 2 attack skills. Icrophilia, which is a shade type attack, which is a pretty strong attack, but this is the fire team, so I've given her just a fire skill to keep the AF gauge going. Otherwise, this skill isn't really used that much. She does have, well, Purgus Knot, which deploys Shade Stance, which isn't terribly helpful for this team, but if the character's blood contracts run out, this is a way to put the blood contracts back on. And then with the Stellar Burst, I could use Yuan or Minalka to redeploy the Awakened Fire Zone. So that's the reason for the 4th skill. Speaking of Minalka, she is a tank, so she is geared as such. She has a weapon that gives her health, the Elpis Bangle, which gives her health, and she is holding the 2000 health HP badge. All 3 Ore and Grastas all give her health as well. The Power of Rebirth also giving her the regen. As far as skills, as I click the word equipment, I've chosen these 3. Doom is in the 3rd slot. The 3rd slot is the mechanic slot, so in this case it gives rage. Now, one important thing to note, her rage is not irresistible. You'll notice it does not say anything about that. So it is possible to cast Doom and not get rage on an enemy. So you have to cast it again if you need to. But it also, besides all the buffs, she gains her counterattack effect, which attacks 3 times and restores her health and mana. Overkill is the 2nd slot skill that I've chosen, which is down here. And that is her Stellar skill. And normally the 2nd slot is something that buffs the team. She doesn't really have that much that buffs the team, because it's Minalka. So I wanted to have her Stellar skill available because it can also redeploy an Awakened Fire Zone, and it can do a few additional benefits with Shadow allies. So I have her Stellar skill on the 2nd slot, even though it's not a group buff at all. And then finally, her spammable skill is Mortal Sin, attacks 3 times, inflicts Elemental Break, improves party's attack and type attack and everything. And if you get to 50 Heartfire, the buff amount and Elemental Break stacks and everything basically double, which that's easy to hit in an AF burst. So that is the front line. As I mentioned, Ewan has several personality traits, including glasses, sweet tooth, cursed, and so forth. And he's a hammer user. So I looked at characters that had overlapping traits. May is a miner, has glasses, and is a hammer user as well. So she is holding the Almighty Power glasses. And then she has Power of Inferno hammer and Enhance if Max HP hammer. Remember that Ewan's attacks heal him back up, so he's pretty much always at max HP. CL also has the max HP hammer. This is CL Alter. He's a hammer user as well. And he is a Sweet Tooth, which is also what Ewan is. So he has the Almighty Power Sweet Tooth, and then he has Power of Awakening hammer. As long as you're in an awakened zone, hammer users' damage increases. There, we said it right. So that is the new and hopefully improved fire team. I have to get a little more effort out of it in order to barrier pierce, but I like the damage a lot more. So this is what it looks like in a fight.
Break out your weapons, folks.
New big baddie.
The Chief's gonna love this.
There was Alter Renry doing her co-op. You'll see all the characters have Link now, which means they do extra damage. We're going to blow the AF gauge. We're just going to go ahead and do all 3s, then all 2s, and then all 1s, just like all the others, because I like things easy. So 3, 3, 3, 3, 2, 2, 2, 2, all 1s. And you'll notice that Ewan is healing ridiculous amounts of health, so he is always at full health. And there he is hitting damage cap over and over again. So this team, once Tetra goes, we have 95 stacks of Heartfire. 57 billion in damage, and that was just me kind of being lazy with pianoing as well. So you saw the first 3 teams, they were doing 6 billion, 7 billion in one AF burst, and this fire team comes along and does 57 billion and makes it look easy. I didn't even use the stellar burst. So that's why I really like this team, despite the slight discomfort I'll probably have with barrier piercing. So let's take this team out on a spin and see how it acts. The boss I like to use for my fire teams is the Karakuri Heart of Ro at the basement of Mercy Keep. So if you've watched my other Superboss videos, this is usually the one I use with the fire team. So now this allows you to compare how this fire team functions against the Superboss compared to my other ones. So turn 1, we're going to blow the AF gauge so we can get Gunce's aura going, and we're going to do the exact same thing you saw on the test dummy. We're going to do all 3s, all 2s, and then just spam all 1s. 3, 3, 3, 3, 2, 2, 2, 2, and all 1s. The boss has HP stoppers, and he will clear his debuffs with each HP stopper. Things that are persistent remain, but you'll notice he's no longer debuffed. However, because we got all the 2s in, the team is buffed. So we are going to Mortal Sin. In her case, we can Rosa Liliac again and put down, reduce basically his damage a little bit. We can use Lava Impact, and she can Overload.
This is the end.
You'll see that Ewan had no trouble at all getting down to the second HP stopper. He keeps attacking because he keeps healing himself. And Minalka is strong enough as a tank to finish the job after the HP stopper was hit. So you can tell this team is a lot quicker than some of my previous teams against the same Superboss. So I'm really enjoying this team. So that is the new and improved fire team. My next team has gone through some changes as well. It's my Thunder team. And I'm doing something with them that I really don't do with my others. Oboro and Izuna are both DPS characters. They both can function as the main DPS. In my previous teams, I always have one DPS character and everyone else built around them. So Sesta for the Wind team, Falmina for the Water team, Shannon for the Earth team, and Ewan for the Fire team. Well, this time I have two DPSers. And so who do I build around? Through testing, and you may have seen some of the videos, I found that Izuna does more damage than Oboro, so I've built basically more around Izuna. That said, my old Thunder team had Oboro as the main damage dealer, and I had Miyu in the team. And Miyu is good for two things. She had innate barrier piercing with her Levin Longitus, so I didn't have to worry too much about barrier piercing, though that said, Oboro, Rising Beat, when used in Stellar Burst, also grants barrier piercing just for him. So I still kind of have a barrier piercing skill, it's just a little more clunky to use. The other thing that Miyu did was set Pain. And Valette has the ability to inflict pain, and it ignores target resistance. So I'm using this skill for Valette. So Valette's taken over pain duties, and Oboro is maintaining barrier piercing duties, so Izuna is just doing massive damage duties. And then we have Orlea AS as a tank. So, that said, let's take a look at the team. Valette is probably the best Thunder support character in the game right now, her and Guns. Because she is support, I have her equipped as support. However, the Thunder team's, I guess, vision of support is a little different. The Thunder team is basically designed in this game to use the AF bar over and over and over again and to make good use of it. So in her case, I have combo rate enhance ores, the combo rate enhance badge, and gear that increases combo rate as well. So this is her equipment, and she has the Power of Offense Thunder, which improves all parties' damage by 15%, as long as we're in Thunder stance. So as far as weapons, I could give her the Kawaii weight and give her an extra 1,000 health, but I just went ahead and kept her with the Elpis Hammer. If I'm fighting a boss where I think she might actually die, I would probably swap to the Kawaii weight. But so she has the Elpis Hammer and all of this gear, and the Dream Digger proof, which pretty much doesn't help at all. Oboro, since he's primary damage person, is geared as such. He also has the Lepid Ring, which increases combo rate as well. And he has the Pain series, one of which has Awakened Zone Enhance Ore, which improves his damage when the zone is awakened. Technically, I should probably give that to Izuna and give him Resonant Power Ore instead. I'm just too lazy to swap them. Izuna, of course, has the Elpis Rod, she has the Dryad's Ring, and she has the Vitality Badge. Her damage goes up by 20% when she's at max health. And she has skills that kind of make her less likely to be targeted, and with all the AF bursts, she's usually at max health. So that's why I gave her that instead of like an int 40 badge. She also has the Power of Pain series, one of them with Resonant Power Light. Instead of 15% like the Awakened Ore, this one goes up to 12% if you have 4 light allies. And the Thunder team is all light. There you go. Not much light, but they have all light. Orlea is the tank, and I have her geared actually kind of tankish, kind of DPS-ish. There's not too many axes that I can use for tanking purposes, at least the ones that I have access to. And the Lepid axe does not improve combo rate, so I just left her with the Elpis axe. She has the Elpis necklace, which is great for giving extra health and has high defense. If I wanted to make more use of the combo rate, I could probably switch to the leopard necklace, but it does decrease her health. And then she has the HP 2000 badge. She has 3 grasta and 3 ore that all give her health as well, and her Walkure proof, which gives her 300 health there. So she's sitting at 7,800 health. Skills. Since she's the tank, we need some way to do rage. And so the third slot not only debuffs, but also inflicts rage. Again, it's not irresistible, so it's possible that rage may or may not take, but what can you do? So third slot, debuff and mechanic. Second slot is always a buff, and sure enough, in a Thunder Stance, she is buffing party power, intellect, and speed by 100% and improves damage of all party members equipped with weapons. And then for her spammable skill, she has Foudry Hatch. It improves an R-Force combo rate, and it attacks 3 times. It's important to me to have a team that has many attacks and all thunder-based, so I can keep the AF gauge going as long as possible. I don't have equipped her Prane, which would be an excellent 4th skill to have. It gives her cover, and it restores party members, it restores statuses, damage taken is reduced in half, and she gets a shield as well, and it's just a wonderful skill. So if I'm fighting a boss that's doing a massive amount of damage, I might try and find a way to work in her resistance skill. But I don't really want to give up Alumage, because that's an incredible buff, and I can't get rid of Defense de Tonnerre, because that's her rage. So my only choice would be to give up Foudry Hash, which I don't really want to as well. So that would be a prime choice, but she's nowhere near unlocking a 4th skill. Okay. Izuna's skills. Secret Art Thundercrack. If you haven't seen my other videos, it's an incredibly damaging attack, and it puts her in hyperfocus mode, which means all of her follow-up attacks are even more damaging. So it attacks 5 times, and of course in an AF gauge it doesn't use mana, so that's a very fun skill to spam during an AF blast. Her other 2, slot number 3, Tengu Sublimation, gives everyone's the Mind's Eye, and improves staff characters' damage. So it's a buff, not a debuff, but she doesn't really have too many debuffs, if any, now that I'm thinking about it. Thunder God Dance is a team buff. It improves everyone's intellect and speed, and improves their damage against weak points, and it's doubled in Thunder Zone. So major attack, buff, or team buff, and buff. Obero, his spammable attack is Rising Beat, so it's in position number 1. It activates the strongest learned unique skill, which means it's activating Ituryu Haze. And if sparks are at 50 plus, it will consume them. He will improve his strength and speed and everything. He enters Raging mode. If I Stellar Burst, he has Barrier Pierce for 3 moves, and he attacks again. When he attacks again, Ituryu Haze is a 3-time attack. So basically, he gets Barrier Pierce for 3 attacks. For debuff, slot 3, I went with Volcanic Sword. It reduces slash resistance. It technically can stack, so it's something that I'd like. If I hit an HP stopper and I'm in an AF gauge, I can switch over and use Voltaic Sword and build up some more slash resistance stacks if I wanted to. And then for his buff, slot number 2, I put in Raging Repa. It improves his Thunder type attack damage. If I'm in Thunder Stance, all Katana users gain damage, but he is the only Katana user, so it's basically more of a self buff. And Valette's skills. Slot 3, as I mentioned earlier, is Pain and Poison. Slot 2, which is usually a group buff, is right here, and sure enough, it's a group buff. And then Minnie's Astrophy is her spammable first skill, and it reduces thunder resistance as well as damage the enemy. I've also considered using this one as her spammable first skill. It attacks 5 times, but it also improves damage for the whole party based on number of chains. So like a 3-hit attack, the second and third hit will do more damage. So I kind of like that because that helps the entire party, but I also kind of like the Miniastrophi's thunder resistance with debuff, which also stacks. So kind of either or. I guess for this example I'll just use the Katagada, however that's pronounced. So, support characters. This time my DPS is split between Izuna and Obero. Izuna, Eastern, Mask, Staff, Amnesia, Estrangement, and Thunder. Obero is also Eastern and also Mask and also Thunder, so they do have a few personality traits that overlap. That was another reason why I decided to go ahead and throw in 2 DPS characters. So knowing that, I needed to find an Eastern character, and I chose Yuna. She's a staff user, so I can give her some staff boosts for Izuna. And then I found a mask user, Sukiya, and she is a katana user, so she is holding some grasta that beefs up Obero's damage. So I kind of sort of have it split. That's why people like Valette are holding things like the Power of Offense Thunder, because normally I'd give that to someone in the back row and give Valette more health. But as you will see, this is how this team functions. So we're going to blow the AF bar. We're going to do all 3s. So we're going to inflict pain, reduce slash resistance, buff up the whole team, and reduce the enemy's power, intellect, inflict rage, all that kind of stuff. Then we're going to buff, self-buff, buff, and buff, and then all 1s. Because of all the enhanced combo rates, keep an eye on the combo rate bar as well. So 3, 3, 3, 3, 2, 2, 2, 2, and now all 1s. Again, I like things nice and simple. So we hit 50 stacks, so we entered Raging Mode level 1. You'll see that he's building up stacks again. If you haven't realized it, this AF burst is lasting a lot longer than some of the others. He just entered Raging Mode level 2 because we hit another 50 stacks. We hit a combo rate of 685 without using the Stellar Burst, and he was 32 points into Raging Mode level 3. She is in Hyper Focus mode, that's why she is glowing golden right now. And their total damage was 62 billion, with a very high combo rate, again without using Stellar Burst. So the first few elements, 6 billion, 7 billion, nothing to sneeze at. And then suddenly we hit the fire team, and now the thunder team, they're doing double digits. And just as a little brag post, I used this team and I swapped out some characters' pains and poisons and a lot of their HP gear. But my Thunder team was the one that was actually able to hit the 103 billion mark. So I passed the 100 billion mark on the new test dummy with my Thunder team and got, I believe, a whopping 10 free Crono stones for the achievement. So right now, if you see that current record, that's a result of this Thunder team, just with a few tweaks to their gear. So now you've seen it on a test dummy, of course, we have to go and make sure it works in real life. So we're going to pick on a poor hapless boss that has barriers. We are going to kill the Mysterious Chaos Ogre hard with the Thunder team. Remember that he has a barrier, so we have to chew through the barrier before we do damage. And then he has an HP stopper at 10%, and at that point it doesn't matter if we do more damage or not, but he will put up another barrier that we will have to chew through, or use barrier piercing. So this is how that works. First of all, you'll notice that we have a full AF bar to use. That is a trait of Izuna. So we are going to blast the AF gauge, and we're going to do the exact same thing you saw in the test dummy. We're going to do all 3s, all 2s, all 1s. We will bring him down to 10%, and we will have the team all buffed up and ready to go. 3, 3, 3, 3, 2, 2, 2, 2, all 1s. We are not going to use the Stellar Burst skill quite yet. There he is now at his HP stopper, which means we can work in Voltaic Sword some more and reduce his slash resistance. So now we've used Voltaic Sword 3 times. His slash resistance is definitely decreased. And right now we're just having fun with the poor monster. So we've hit the HP stopper on the very first turn. Monster is mad. He puts up a barrier. Tetra heals the team. And then the curse hurts the team again. However, remember, Rising Beat will grant him barrier piercing and allows him to attack again. So if we cast Rising Beat, he doesn't care about that barrier. And just for fun, we'll use Secret Art Thundercrack. I actually don't know if it will do any damage because it's not barrier piercing. It just might reduce the stacks. But Rising Beat means that when Ogre goes, his second attack will break through. And it looks like Thundercrack did a pretty good job too. So there you go. 2-turn kill on Mysterious Chaos Ogre with the Thunder team. No issues whatsoever. So I've been having a lot of fun with the Thunder team, which was sorely needed. The Thunder team was kind of always an afterthought in my mind. But there you go. Moving on. My next team is my Crystal team, and it really hasn't changed all that much over the months. Really, ever since Alma AS and Thalil ES came out, they really haven't paid that much attention to Crystal users, so there really haven't been any new ones to try and incorporate in. That said, it's still a very powerful team. Thalil is the main damage dealer, so the usual Elpis, Dryads, Power, 40 Power Badge, Power of Pain series. She can set pain with her Photon Messiah attack, so I don't have to worry about someone else separately needing to do that. And she has her Abyssal Devotee proof, which gives her an extra 5 power. Melissa has Elpis Dagger, Dryad's Ring, Speed Badge, Power of Offense Crystal, Enhance if Max HP Crystal, and then a little boost to her health. She's over 5,000. Mistrari is also a support character. She has the Smoke Drift Ring, which improves her physical resistance and resistance to poison, stun, and sleep, which stun and sleep, very important if she's singing. She has MP Plus MP Halved Badge for 2,000 health, and the MP Halved is because when she's singing, she's not really using MP. And then she has Sound Body West and Bow and Resonant Power Shadow. The West and Bow are to boost Alma and Thalil Lily, And the shadow is because this entire team is made up of shadow characters. Alma is the tank, so she is geared as such. She has the upgraded Lollipopper, which also gives her a hold ground. She has the Elpis ring, and she has the 2000 HP badge. And then she has all grasta that improve her health. And she has her special grasta, which does nothing for her. As far as skills, her third slot, which is normally what I use for debuffs, right now has Brain Record. Sometimes I'll throw in Geist Nebula to reduce power, intellect, and speed. But I like the flexibility of Brain Record. It changes her attack to match the target's weak point. So if I'm fighting a boss that's weak against fire, for example, then if I cast Brain Record, Luster Glare and Refraction Bullet will become fire-type attacks. That's why I have it in slot 3. Slot 2 then is the slot that inflicts rage and buffs up the party's type resistance. So it's kind of like a group buff, but it's still her rage mechanic. And then for her spammable first skill, we have Luster Glare, which is right there. It attacks and stacks Elemental Break and buffs up the team as well, among other things. So those are her 3 main skills. Her stellar skill, Kaleidoscope, is in there on slot 4 for whenever I use a stellar burst. It grants Barrier Pierce to a single party member. Actually, I take that back. Normally, without stellar burst, it grants Barrier Pierce to one party member. In stellar burst, it grants Link and Barrier Pierce to all members. So it also restores health. It revives knocked out allies. So besides Mariel, AS, and Tetra, I'm not aware of any other skills that actually revive people that have been knocked out. So I have this in slot 4. It's not one that I use that often because the Little Lily can Barrier Pierce as well. But should I need it, I have it. Mistrari's skills. She has in slot 3 a singing skill. Received damage is decreased, improves crystal type piercing attacks, reduces power, stacks, and so forth. So I'm not a big fan of singing, as I've mentioned before, but I have it there in case I need it. What I normally do is hit Healing Lore right away, and that improves the physical resistance for the whole party, gives them a little bit of healing as well, and then I try to stack Hakam Chets, which stacks 4 times but reduces crystal type resistance. And if she's lunaticked, it also increases damage and reduces physical resistance. So right away, the last 2 characters don't really use their third slot skill. They only use slots 1 and 2. Melissa, her third skill is a buff for the whole team. Crystal type attack goes up. Her second skill is Glint Gale, once I find it. And while it's a wind type attack, it does reduce crystal type resistance. So I guess technically, to keep consistency, that should be the third slot, and Nephrite Boost should be the second slot. So buff second, debuff third slot. And then her spammable attack, Ruin Genocide, is a great one to use. It inflicts break and it attacks twice. But I have her Stellar Awakened, so I have Hornet Hail as her spammable. It's a crystal type attack, it inflicts elemental break, and strength is based on speed. However, in a Stellar Burst, it can deploy the zone that matches the highest number of type personalities, which means in this team, since they're all crystal personalities, she can endlessly deploy a crystal zone. The Little Lily can deploy a crystal zone with a skill, but I don't have it selected because I have Hornet Hail available. So she has buff and spammable attack, and then her Sword and Heart skill. So Apostle increases hits based on number of attacks for the whole team. For Shadow allies, all damage is improved. and that is her third skill. Second skill, which is Promised Land, improves, it's preemptive, it improves damage for everyone. For sword-equipped allies, it increases their skill hit count, which means an attack that hits 3 times will now hit 4 times. And for shadow allies, all the durations instead of 1 turn are increased a lot more. And then Photon Messiah, which is her spammable skill, it inflicts pain, ignores target resistance, and it beefs up crystal type attacks. So all 3 of those are Scream DPS. Her big attack is Sword and Heart, and that's her stellar skill. It's in the 4th slot, because you can't spam it. Once you use it, it's gone until you can enter sword-wielding savior state again. So that is the team, that is the skills. Since the Lily is the main damage dealer, we always look at her personality: Sweet Tooth, Clergy, West, Sword, and Crystal. It just so happens if you have Melina, she is also Sweet Tooth, Clergy, and West. So she is a great character to hold those 3 personality grasta. And then any sword user can be thrown the back row, given Power of Crystal Sword, Enhance of Max HP Sword, and then Power of Awakening Sword. So I just used Aldo. Again, any sword user works. Sidekicks. Moke has to be one sidekick. Moke is the only way you can re-enter sword-wielding savior state if you have the Lily. So you can use Tetra for healing up until when you finally need Moke. You can swap them out, use Moke to re-enter sword-wielding savior state, and then swap back to Tetra for more healing. And that's exactly what I do. So let's check out this team in action on the dummy. So this team does take a little more pianoing if I want to be efficient, because I don't want to use Lepus Musica and I don't want to use Brain Record. So I usually do 3, 3, 2, 2, 2, 2, and then start spamming all ones from that point forward. I just have to hope that the character's speed kind of doesn't interfere with that, because if Melissa is built for speed, so if I go 3, 3, 2, 2, 2, 2, 1, 1, it's possible Melissa might be so fast, she might go faster, particularly than Mistrari AS. So we're going to see how well we can do. So 3, 3, 2, 2, 2, 2, and then all ones. 3, 3, 2, 2, 2, 2, all ones. I don't think I worked in a refraction bullet, so I'll do that right now. And now I just basically spam all ones. The Hakam Chets is stacking, so it's getting more and more unresistant to crystal. And just to showcase the burst, because Thalil Lily pretty much thrives on Sword and Heart, this is the Sword and Heart burst. We can Hornet Hail and Kaleidoscope if we want to.
Irregular performance increase detected.
You can see the 2.147s from Sword and Heart. That was damage cap. So with a Stellar Burst included, which I did not use in some of the prior examples, we will see what kind of damage the Crystal team does after she stops talking. And of course we have to wait for Tetra to do his little final attack as well. Alright Tetra, add to that total. Good job. Alright, 31 billion with the Stellar Burst included. Even without the Stellar Burst, this team would have hit the double digits, so it's a pretty powerful team, particularly compared to my first few teams. As always, let's go see it actually being used and see if all that damage is just for show or if this team is actually viable. To show the Crystal team in action, we're going to beat up the poor mysterious Chaos Ogre hard. Now, an easy, definite kill would be to blow the AF gauge right now, go through all of the barriers, weaken him down, and then on turn 2, blow the Stellar Burst, blow Sword and Heart, and destroy him. What I'm going to do is slow that down a little bit, because that's too easy. I don't really get to show off what the other characters can do. So we're going to do Refraction Bullet. We're going to beef up Healing Lore. We're going to go ahead and do Glint Kale and Apostle on turn 1. There's 2 turns basically where Alma AS is completely invincible.
Oh, thank you.
It's her Alchemaic High. So even if she drops down to 1 health, she won't die. This is her counter attack. You'll see that she's healing the team and keeping their mana full. So that's kind of what I wanted to show you. You know, longer drawn out fight, she can knock out, or she can keep the team alive that way. If she gets hit 9 times, she's going to counter 9 times as well. I don't know how many times she got hit, but... So, you'll see she's down to 1,000 health already, but she won't die. She's still in her Alchemaic High. So now we're going to go ahead and blow the AF gauge. Now I can show you a little bit of that. We have done Refraction Bullet and Healing Lore, so really they just need to spam their first skills. So we're going to do 2, 2, and then just all 1s. That should burn through the rest of the barrier, and we should be able to bring him down to this level. Now, Sword and Heart is only available the first 3 turns, because that's when she's in sword-wielding savior mode. And if I use it in a Stellar Burst, I get 5 charges added to the sidekick bar. So I'm going to use the Stellar Burst during the AF burst, and I'm going to show you kind of how to recharge the Lily so she can do back-to-back Sword and Hearts. So we're going to start off 2, 2, all 1s, and at some point, even if the boss is at the HP stopper, we're going to use the Stellar Burst and use Sword and Heart. So, 2, 2, all 1s. Keep doing 1s, keep doing 1s. Stellar Burst is available. We'll go ahead and Sword and Heart. We might as well just Hornet Hail and Kaleidoscope, because why not? You can see we have 2 stacks so far from Hakam Chets, and we have 6 stacks of Crystal Elemental Break.
Our swords stand united and pure.
So Sword and Heart is barrier piercing, so right away you'll see that we hit the HP stopper, even though we haven't finished going through all the barriers. So there's our 3rd stack of Hakam Chets. Here comes our 4th stack. He's used up his barrier. We keep doing damage even though he's at an HP stopper. So, as you've no doubt seen, this boss gets very mad. He will kill the team on the next turn, and he restores his barrier. And we wait. Okay. Because we used Sword and Heart in a Stellar Burst, we gained all those charges. So we're going to switch to Moke. Moke is going to go on his little rampage. He doesn't do much damage. We can switch back to Tetra if we wanted to. Not that it's going to matter. But because he went on his rampage, she is in sword-wielding savior state again, which means I can redo Sword and Heart. Now, if I wait until I can Stellar Burst it again, then I could basically do the same thing. However, this is a one-turn deal. He's going to kill my team if I don't kill him first. Sword and Heart is barrier piercing, so I'm going to use it, and it's going to chew through the remaining 12 barriers. The rest of the team will just attack, because why not? Who cares? It doesn't matter. The second Sword and Heart goes, the boss has been defeated. So that is the Crystal team in action, and how Sword and Heart can be used on back-to-back turns, which is very helpful if it's like a 1 HP stopper type of boss. My final Superboss team is my Null Magic team featuring Xianghua. Xianghua is the main damage dealer in this case, so she has the Elpis Rod, Dryad's Ring. She has an Int plus Speed halved badge. It gives her 50 intellect but reduces her speed, and that's on purpose. I want her to go after the other characters have done their buffs. Otherwise, she has the typical power of pains. Her third one has last stand, or if there's multiple enemies, she does more damage to all of them. We have Myunfa Altar again, geared about the same pretty much. She has Miyake's Staff, since it gives resistance. Elpis Ring, she has the HP 2000 badge, and grasta that give her health, just like before. Iffy is geared similarly as well. She has a Purity Staff, she has the Subspace Ring. Since the Elpis Ring is in use by Myunfa, the Subspace Ring gives a little bit of health and mana, so it's still defensive in nature. Any defensive ring would probably do. She has the 1500 HP badge, and she has Sound Body Staff, Victory Celebration, and HP Restore. Victory Celebration gives her a regen and some health. HP Restore, of course, does as well. The Sound Body Staff gives all staff members 300 health and 50 mana. The whole team is staff members, so Iffy is kind of buffing the entire team that way. And then Flammopolis is the fourth character. I don't have a tank for this team. If I had Yakumo AS, he would most likely be the fourth character. So if you have Yakumo, congratulations. I've been chasing him ever since he was released, and he's never come home to me. But if you have Yakumo AS, he'd probably be much better than Flammopolis. I have Flammopolis here for two reasons. Iffy's Blood Contract always directs single target damage to the rightmost character, so any attacks initially go to Flammopolis. Knowing that, I have gear that gives her tanking type resistances. So here she has a physical resistance, Mujima Ring, damage decreases the longer the fight goes on. She has an HP badge, 1250. And she has all grasta and ore that boost up health. And she has Scotty Proof, which does nothing. Her skills are third slot, which is the debuff, La Mer Archon. First 3 turns of battle, it reduces power, intellect, and speed, so I can reduce the enemy's damage as long as I use this within the first 3 turns. Second skill slot is always a buff, and sure enough, it is for her. First 3 turns of battle, intellect speed of everyone goes up 100%, staff characters damage 100%, and max MP goes up, and it lasts for 5 turns. And then her spammable skill of 5 attack water type magic attack. It also does weapon break magic. Not that that's too important for Xianghua, but if you have another magic damage dealer like regular Yakumo, normal style, that would help him out. Pretty sure. Iffy's skills. Since this is a magic team, I do have Icrophilia attacked. It's 3 magic attacks. Ignores target defenses, guaranteed critical, and strength is based on her seances, which, unless someone dies, I don't have any seances. Third slot is the same as before. It is Rosa Liliac. It's a debuff and utility, pain and poison. Second slot is Nocturnal Procession, it's team buff. And then 4th slot, which I rarely use, but if Blood Contract is used up, it's a way to put Blood Contract back. Xianghua, her 3rd skill is Link. It deploys Magic Fate Stance if I need it. If I'm in Magic Fate Stance, it awakens it. And it can be done an infinite number of times. So this is my way of having an infinite amount of awakened Magic Fate zones. 2nd slot is a buff slot, as usual, and it increases skill hits by 1. So something that attacks 3 times would attack 4 times. It gives a damage barrier to all party members, and it awakens the zone. And if I'm in an awakened zone and cast Trinity, then all those buffs are doubled. So it's kind of like if you're already in a zone, like if you cast it in a regular magic zone, it will do this and awaken the zone, but you won't get this benefit down here. So just keep that in mind. And then her spammable skill is Horizon. I love Horizon. It attacks twice or 3 times with Trinity. It ignores target defenses. It considers resistance 0 in the calculation, and it does a massive amount of damage. If the enemy has more than 50% health, she attacks a 2nd time. So it's a great spammable skill. I do have Tesseract as well. If a boss's health is below 50%, it's a very good skill to use. It also inverts things, so if a boss, gives itself a really huge, powerful buff, and you cast Tesseract, that becomes a really huge, powerful weakness. So, most of them anyway, not every single thing. But I only have 3 slots, and I find that I don't really use Tesseract nearly as often as the others, so that's why it's on the bench. If I had a 4th slot, I'd definitely use it. And then Myunfa, same as in the Earth team, she has the exact same 3 skills. Charity Blend, normally it deploys Earth Stance, but if you have 3 or more staff allies, it deploys Magic Zone. And this team is all magic users. Since Xianghua, not equipment, is Eastern Scientist, Synth, Staff, and KMS, I want to find support characters that have similar traits. Yuna is my staff equipped person, so Power of the Void, which improves all non-type attacks. So that is buffing Xianghua. And then, depending on where Shanghua's health is, if it's at full health, she's getting buffed. If it's below 80%, she's getting buffed. Helena is also a staff user who's a synth human. So, now, one thing about Xianghua, if you use her, let's open up some personality. The almighty powers, like almighty power synth human, you might think, oh, well, Xianghua has the synth human personality, let's use that. It improves type attacks, and Xianghua is a non-type attack user. So the almighty powers do not boost Shanghua's damage at all. What does boost Shanghua's damage is her mana. If her MP is over 1100 and something, she maxes out some skills. So things like Sound Body, which improve MP, actually help with her damage, unless she gets that cap. So Helena is also holding Resonant Power Shadow and Power of Awakening Staff. As far as Shadow users, we have Xianghua herself and Iffy as Shadow users. So it's not being maxed out, but it is helping some. Sidekicks, the usual, Tetra and Guns. So let's see this team against Parallel Time Layer Big Baddie.
They'll make a perfect sample.
The general strategy is just the same as the others. We do the third skill first. So we're going to deploy Magic Stance. We're going to awaken Magic Stance. Pain Poison, reduce power. And we're going to reduce power and intellect and speed. We're going to spam all 2s, which is a prayer. Buff her attacks up. Buff the team up. Buff the team up. And then all 1s. Please, we'll buff up Xianghua even more. Xianghua will start her Horizon attacks. Ickerphilia, magic damage, and Pentalpha Un, magic damage, and magic break. Again, that doesn't affect Shangwa much. So all 3s, all 2s, all 1s. 3, 3, 3, 3, 2, 2, 2, 2, 1, 1, 1, and 1. We're in an awakened magic zone now, and we are spamming magic attacks, except for Myunfa, who does not have a magic attack to spam.
Hop to it.
So without a stellar burst attack, this team just did close to 10 billion in damage in one turn. So pretty nice. Some drawbacks to this particular team: I don't have a reliable way to restore their mana. If you noticed in that fight, their mana was drained to about half. So that is kind of one drawback to this team. But that said, let's go fight some big nasty boss. Here we are in the Wyrmking's domain from the record room, and we are going to fight the Wyrmking. The Wyrmking, like several bosses, has a mechanic where he can improve his physical resistance and his type resistance. You can see right here. Shangwa, however, does not do physical damage or type damage. She is a Null type. So her horizon will affect the Wyrmking no matter how much his resistance is. So we're going to start off just the same as before. We're going to blow the AF gauge, do all 3s, all 2s, and then all 1s. 3, 3, 3, 3. 2, 2, 2, 2. We didn't quite get to the 1s, but we did set up a prayer, and we did set up an awakened magic zone. So turn 1, please, Horizon, Ickerphilia, and Pentalpha Un. Shangwa attacks, and chews right through a lot of the boss's health. The prayer blocks some of the incoming damage. Now, Fomopolis AS is at her best in the first 3 turns of the fight. We are on turn number 3 now. So we can either debuff the boss again, rebuff the team again, or improve magical critical rate. We don't care about magical critical rate since we have the Elpis weapon. So I'm going to go ahead and rebuff the party for 100% intellect, speed, and 100% staff type character's damage, and max MP for 5 turns. We are going to go ahead and Ickerphilia, Horizon, and we're going to double check our prayer and everything. We are not praying, so we need to resume praying. There's the prayer. There's the buff. Horizon knocked off one of the Wyrmking's lives, and he does end breath. Because we have the prayer going, end breath does 0 damage. Whenever the Wyrmking loses a life, all the debuffs are removed. So we need to put back on debuff. You'll notice that we are no longer in Magic Zone. So Charity Blend would be a good choice, and Link would be a good choice. What we can just simply do is blow the AF gauge again, and just do all 3s, all 2s, and all 1s. The danger being, we just need to make sure we don't hit Hermoda Galder, so we'll just do Pentalfa Un the whole time. If we do Hermoda Galder right now, that 100% int buff and staff type buff and everything will be reduced to 50%. So we do 3331, 2221, and then all ones. 3331, 2221, and then all ones. And we chew through the second HP stopper. There's another end breath. We are still praying, so the end breath does not scare us. We have a Stellar Burst to be used whenever we want. Since we don't have Tesseract equipped, that basically just means Stellar Burst can activate one skill. Could be a Horizon, could be something else. So let's check. We have Magic Zone, but not Awakened. And are we still praying? Yes, we are. So we can go ahead and do Please. This is turn number 5, I believe, so let's check the status and see if we still have the multiple attacks. Yes, we do, since we just since we just used the AF gauge. So we'll do Please, we'll attack. We will do Rosa Liliac because we lost another life. And we will attack. Horizon is doing so much damage at this point that we just chewed through its last life point. End breath. Actually got through this time. But now the Wyrmking no longer has any lives and is counting down to our deaths. Now, if we just want a freebie move, I could use the Stellar Burst bar and attack with Horizon. I could deploy an Awakened Magic Fate Zone, or I could give myself Trinity. So we still have a lot of her buffs on. So at this point, it might just be nice to have like it in our pocket in case we need it. So we double check up here. We still are in Magic Zone and we are still praying. So at this point, we could awaken the zone if we wanted to with Tampered Roast, but I think I'm just going to go ahead and re-pray. We'll have her use Horizon. We will Nocturnal Procession because the boss cleared its debuffs, and we will attack.
Let's dance. Go.
Horizon was strong enough to chew through the final life. So there was the Wyrmking Shadow defeated by the Null Magic team. We bypassed his hardest issue, which is his resistances, because we used Xianghua. In conclusion, this is what I've been using in December. I'm not saying that these are the absolute best, most perfect teams in the world. They're not. I'm not saying that these should be used exclusively, but they get the job done, and they have killed a lot of super bosses. I have my Earth team, Water team, Wind team, Fire team, Thunder team, Crystal team, and Null team. I feel it's very important to be successful in this game, to have more than one team. For a long time, I only had one or two, and then I'd run across a boss that was completely completely immune to their tactics. So it's helpful to have multiple teams. We have a whole bunch of slots for teams, so go ahead and make use of them. And I hope some of these ideas, my newest ones, of course, Fire Team and Thunder Team, have probably gone through the biggest changes since my last video. But I hope some of these thoughts, you can look at your own characters and go, oh, maybe I can recreate this, or maybe I could do something similar. And I've tried to streamline it as much as possible. I try to have debuff in the third slot, buff in the second slot, spammable first slot for most characters. And by doing that, that reduces all the trickiness of having to play piano during the AF burst. I just spam all 3s, all 2s, and then all 1s, and as you see, I have pretty decent success doing so. Anyway, I hope this helps. Casual Crono, signing out.